Yeah, just coming back quickly, I mean, in terms of Holly's point, coordinated action is always what you want. Unfortunately, the amount of red tape necessary for an industrial action ballot means it's not always possible. And it's worth bearing in mind, next time you see someone from the CBI on the television complaining about red tape, well, you see them try and run a leave and strike ballot in this country. It's bloody impossible. I mean, in terms of just the general points about the Labour Party, I mean, one of the statistics I found when I was looking into this is there's been a lot of talk about the influence of Labour, of the union money in the Labour Party. Not many people have mentioned there's 67 Tory MPs who are getting money out of private healthcare companies. And I don't think any of those are doing it because they want to see a stronger NHS. Generally, with a Labour Party, though, we've got to be brutally honest. There's not many other games in town. We live in a democracy where there are two parties who have a chance of winning an election. Now, I've got no problem whatsoever if someone wants to go to another party that they think is better able to reflect their views. But from my point of view, the world is run by those who turn up to run it. And as someone who's moved a few times in the last few years, I'm actually getting sick of being the only socialist in a Labour Party meeting which consists of lobbyists and public schoolboys. And this is what happens when we all leave. You know, you're talking about when are the Labour Party going to avoid the neoliberal agenda? Well, when people turn up at Labour Party meetings and start arguing for it. You know, the Labour Party is supposed to be a mass movement. It's currently got less than 200,000 members. And a lot of those, to be quite honest with you, are dead and dying. They don't do anything. What you get, the gap is filled by small businessmen, by people, careerists, and not the workers. Earlier this year, when at Labour Party conference down the road, we did a petition about teaching assistants. And one of the questions we had was, what job do you do? Now, I was thinking, at Labour Party conference, this will be interesting. We had one train driver, 3 teachers, and everyone else had a job title that went on for about 2 pages. You know, professional communications this, lobbyists that. Now, we've surrendered our party to those people. And that's the fact of it. And when I'm turning up and talking about why we need to fund the health service, why we need to deal with 0 hours contracts, why we need to deal with a living wage, I'm looked at as if I come from Mars, because these people have no idea on what I'm talking about. And so ultimately, we can all sit on our hands, we can all shout at the television, we've got a nation of people who are brilliant at that. And what has it led to? More years of Tory rule. A health service that's being gutted, workers' rights being slashed, the public sector that's being pissed all over. And what are we doing? We're arguing and shouting about it. Now, we need to put forward an alternative. We can't always just sit here and say, no, no, no. At some point, we have to make some compromises. We have to put our own plan together. We have to try and build a coalition. And at the moment, the only people I see doing that are the Labour Party. Now, we've got a long way to go. The Labour Party have got to get they've got to make a lot of changes, but at the moment, it's the only game in town. Thanks.
Right, I'll try and be as brief as possible because I appreciate the time. I want to come back to Holly's point. I believe we should have coordinated strike action. I believe there should be something in place where the NUT, the local government, the NHS workers, we all go out on the same day. Some sort of coordinated action has to happen. I mean, the word red tape comes across. Right, I'm saying sod that. Let's find a way of getting around it. We've got a 2-day meeting at the end of, beginning of May, and I will be pushing, pursuing, and basically cajoling colleagues to actually come up with the same ideas that we must go on the same day. There must be some sort of disruption, because if we just basically say, well, I'm not going to go and do some work during my lunch break, nothing's going to change. We have to have some form of disruption. We have to get people to take note. And again, on the day of the pensions march in this city, around about 8,000 people marched through the city. Only one person complained about what we did. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, he was off his head. And everybody else cheered us, supported us on. It was very, very popular. People understand, people are sympathetic towards us. When we went on strike, people were sympathetic, they understood our situation. But if we do it as a combined, united format, again, this can work for us. So I want to quickly come back on a colleague of you raised about the TTIP, and again the US trade agreement. Now there is an issue around that one, and again I'm sure other unions have, but we in Unite have worked closely with Andy Burnham. We have guided him, or basically told him what to put in his policy, and again in regards to bringing back service to the NHS. So the colleagues who do work for ISS, Sodexo or Sunlight, whoever they are, will be working for the NHS because that's where they belong. And again, that's what we want and that's what we intend on getting done. When services go out to the private sector, we will get them back under a preferred bidder system, and that's what must happen. The EU-US trade agreement must make the NHS exempt, and again, we're talking to MEPs, well, I'm talking to MEPs about this already, and again, they're in agreement, and again, they'll be doing everything within their power to do it, and Parliament has a say in this as well. So again, the importance of having a Labour Party in power here, because that will reinforce that agreement. Last thing about the ambulance, I mean, again, for those who are aware, there are people, there are ambulance crew on strike on a regular basis. They're going to go back out again soon in West Yorkshire. Now, and again, this is about a trade union standing up and saying, we're not happy with what you're doing, we're not happy about the way you're doing it. They got de-recognised. So again, the message you need to take back to that guy in Somerset is, you must be a member of a trade union because they are making a difference.
Absolutely,
Very quickly, three quick points. First point, the railways. The easiest service to take into public ownership at the minute is the railways. Because you don't need to do anything to take them back into public ownership. All you have to do is sit and wait till the franchises run out, and then just bring them back in. No legal barriers, no costs, no compensation to pay. Just let the franchise run out and bring them back into public ownership. One of the most popular policies that we can have, 80% people regularly say they want to do it. Miliband just needs to make the commitment, because that will be one of the tests of how much he believes in public ownership. In terms of Scotland, how do we do what we do? It is actually just, it's about political will. It's about political will. You know, I said earlier, you know, power focuses the minds. You do not win an election in Scotland if you do not support public services. One of the most common comments we hear is that there are more pandas in Scotland than there are Tory MPs. Nobody will vote.
Sorry to interject. We're told down here there ain't no money to do it, and a lot of people are calmed by that. A lot of English voters, when you talk to them, say, yeah, but there's no money for England, we haven't. Where do you get the money from to fund it?
Well, the money is always there. It's the political will how you choose to spend your money.
Right.
That's
So what don't you spend it on?
that's the
Try them.
The last point is just about the parents' referendum. I need to put this with a caveat. Unison Scotland have no position on the referendum in the sense that we are simply leaving that to our members. We're not giving a recommendation, yes or no. My personal view, and I say, irrespective of what all I've said about how good I think things are in Scotland just now and how I want to keep them, the reason I do not support independence is because I think what we have in Scotland, people in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland should have that as well. And I'm not going to walk away from public service workers in England simply to say, well, I think we can do better in Scotland, so we're just going to walk away and leave you to the ravages of the Tory government. That's not what the Labour Party, that's not what socialism, that's not what trade unions is about.
No, but my point was that if you actually prove that you can do it, then that would encourage people down here to say, right,
Tony, you're getting up for the pilchards at this stage.
Well.
It's irrevocable, Tony. It's no going back once it's done.
Can we have order, please?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Okay, thank you. Can I just say, in particular, thank you to, sorry, I've lost some notes, Holly and Angela, I think, in particular, and sorry, I didn't catch your name there, and to Maggie. You know, I sat in many audiences like this, and one of the reasons I'm standing here was out of the frustration of sitting on that side, because I wanted to do something about it. You know, there isn't anything special about me that nobody else in that room has, apart from the desire to be one of the 650 votes that is in Parliament, because that is all that is making a lot of these decisions. There's 650 votes in it. I think, you know, I don't know if I can add any more to what I said. I think it's about political will. I think it's about going out there and stating your intention. My challenge is to get the Parliamentary Labour Party to state the kind of intentions that we've been talking about for me and other people like me who think like we do to get into Parliament and get one of those votes. You know, and I've only got as far as I have with the support of people, you know, some of the people who are in this room now, and I've got as far as the doorstep, and the only thing I can say now is just give me that last bit of support to get through the door, and then you'll have at least one of those 650 votes in Parliament. And there's a lot of other people like me who I know have got selected in very winnable seats who will be coming through that door with me. And I think then we really do stand a chance of actually kind of creating the kind of change that we've heard is in Scotland, and perhaps getting some political will to say we want to have things like the railways and the NHS and the public sector, and we stand a chance of achieving it. Thank you.